So good morning. How do we know each
Good
other?
morning. I think you were posted something in the Emerge group um, on Facebook, something about doing 15-minute talk to strangers or something like that. I think I saw it and it was intriguing to me, and I was like, well, heck, I like that concept, so let's jump on there.
Nice. So that must have been Oliver.
Yeah, it absolutely was. It was Oliver Perry. Yes, it absolutely
Yeah,
was. Yeah, he
I'm not
posted
in
it. And
Emerge.
oh
So
no, okay, all right, yeah, Oliver posted it. Yeah,
that's
I was like,
great.
what? I like that concept. I was like, why not jump on there? And I like talking to strangers, and what? Why not? I like the conversations.
You're nailing it. All right, well, who are you? What are your hopes and dreams?
Uh, my name is Charles Robinson. Hopes and dreams are to build my way into some financial security in the long run. Going after a epoxy resurfacing business. That's my long term goal. Staying healthy while doing it, and living my life to the fullest, I guess.
Okay, I love that. You like service-based businesses? Is that what you're?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I've worked with my hands all my life. Um, you know, grew up in a family that we didn't hire contractors. We did our own thing, right? You don't
You
hire
like that though?
contractors, but yeah, I do a lot of that. I'm finding as I get a little older, hiring somebody to do some things is way more beneficial. Like we just had our fireplace remodeled. I was not remodeling a fireplace, especially after watching this guy do it. It was pretty impressive. So, um, but yeah, a lot of work with my hands kind of thing.
Nice. And then where do you live? Where do you invest?
I live in Northeast Ohio. It's between Cleveland and Akron. A little town called Garrettsville is where I live. Um, and I haven't. Funny thing is, I haven't gotten really into investing yet. So I'm sort of building that pathway to it. Uh, Building out the enhancing or changing the W two at some point in time, but then using that cash flow to actually put it into hard assets and get into that. Really, most likely looking into short term rentals. I like that idea. I'm not sure if I'm into the full multifamily concept yet, but yeah, the real estate part of it is something I haven't really did. I did two flips a couple years ago. One was very successful. One was not so successful. And then the market changed a little bit, and COVID came along and beat things up pretty bad. So I just sort of paused on all that, and just uh, went about, you know, surviving in the W two and getting out past the pandemic.
Yeah. Nice. I I've done a little bit of all that. I hate flipping houses and I hate short-term rentals, but I really like multifamily.
Right.
Yeah. So you got to find what works for you. It all works. It all
I,
works.
I like the flipping aspect of it. The piece of the flipping I didn't like is I did about 95% of the work myself, as in like the actual in the house. And if I would have taken any kind of guidance in the second flip, I probably would have made something out of it. But it would that flip it should have been, hey, let me just make $10,000 on this and move on, is what it should have been. But I swung for the fences because the market was hot in the area I was in, and I sort of missed the market by about a month getting it on the market, and then it just sat. It was done and ready to go, and no offers, no anything. So I turned it back over to my hard money lender, um, and just sort of walked away from it. So
Gotcha. Flipping's brutal, dude. I hate flipping houses. It's so stressful for
I
me.
I like the idea of it. I like the where you can take something old and adjust it. Like the last one I did was a 2,000 square foot 6 bedroom house. So it had really weird bedrooms in it. And when I was done, it was a 2,000 square foot 4 bedroom house with the laundry room in the middle and a big walk-in pantry. So it's neat to take and redesign and make that shift. It just the concept of doing all the work yourself is just outrageously stupid in the smallest sense of the word. Um,
Yeah.
so
I like rehabbing houses. I like having somebody else rehab them, and then I like keeping them.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Keeping them
I
to
don't
rent
sell
out
assets.
or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Collect assets. I try not to sell anything.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, that's definitely a way to build the wealth, um, and build up that that muscle memory of buying the asset, renovating the asset. Do you do the BRRRR? idea?
I did quite a few Burr, 8 or 9. It's harder now because you can't buy them underpriced as much. But
Right.
that's why I moved to multifamily. Just it's kind of like, hey, we can sit here and buy this property and just kind of earn 8%. And it's not sexy, it's not luxurious, it's not over the top, it's not a huge home run. It's just a reliable 8% forever.
Right. Right.
And so I'm like, okay, well, collect 10 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had somebody one day tell me, so I told him, I said about owning rentals, and he said, well, could you, if you bought 10 rentals by the time you were 50 and you let them pay themselves off with a 15-year mortgage by the time you're 65, all of that money starts coming to you at 65, and could you retire on $8,000 a month? And I was like, well, if you can't, you're doing something wrong. And he's
Sure.
like, yeah, that's it. That's would be the concept. And that was before I started the flipping, and then sort of got beat up by the second flip. So sort of lost my taste for it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm getting, now that I'm in this community, I'm getting back into it.
Yeah, I did really well with rentals and still do. And I was, same idea. I was like, I'll just get 10 rentals over the next 10 years. And I ended up getting like 8 in 3 years. And
Oh
now
wow.
they make about that. They make about $6,000-7,000 a month cash
Right.
flow after expenses, after mortgage. Yeah, so it worked for me. I mean, but I can't do that again now because the market's just different. So,
Sure.
and the market will change back. So it's just a matter of like, playing the long game a little bit. Rentals is definitely a long game
Sure.
because
Yeah,
when I
without a
bought them, they
doubt.
all made $100 a month. So you went from like, oh, I got 7 rentals. You make $700 a month. You're like, this is not life changing. And the next, you're like, that's 7,000 now. You're like, oh, okay, I'll
Right.
take that.
No, that's a little life changing. It gives some fluctuation if you needed to.
Yeah, that can be life changing for sure. For most,
Right.
if it's not, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, like you said.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so how's GoBundance been for you?
Love it. I joined February of last year, um, and it was just one of those things where I've been looking for something for years. I've known that there's something different, something more. Never knowing what that is. I'm 53. In some aspects, feel like I missed the boat. In some aspects, in other aspects, I got some wisdom with me that I can make some smarter decisions. Not so, I don't know, not so uh, uneducated decisions, but it just I found Jamie Gruber's webinar at the right day, right time. I was just frustrated with a lot of things, and watched his, participated in his live webinar, which was one of the first things that impressed me. Is I didn't feel like I was sold anything. Like he just talked about the community, what it does, what it can do, how it can benefit, and then he opened it up for questions for the next half an hour live, and I just thought that was so impressive. And that night I went home and talked to, just sort of laid it out to my wife, like I need to do this. I don't know if I'm wasting the entry, the cost of it right now, but I need to do this. I need to take a swing for this. And it paid off. It just has really put me in the community of being around like-minded people, introducing me to the idea of different aspects of real estate, multifamily, syndications, short-term rental, medium-term rental. Um, I got introduced to a thing called crash pads. One of the members is doing that he does. He's ex-military, and he flew B-2 bombers. And when he would go TDY to bases where temporary duty to other bases, your per diem gives you a certain amount where if you stay on the base, it's pretty basic rudimentary living conditions, and off base, the places you could rent for temporary, your per diem, the amount the military gives you is pretty low, so the living conditions aren't the best. And so he started this thing where he would buy a house near a base, renovate it, put 5 or 6 bedrooms in it with bathrooms, and then only charge the per diem to the military members. So they lived in a nice facility, a nice kind of idea, nice kind of place for the amount they're getting paid from the military. And so I got introduced to that, and then introduced to buy them build concept for small businesses, and introduced to coaching and actually building a brand and all this stuff I never knew anything about. And in the last 12 months, 13 months now, it feels like I've just had this, I just opened this floodgate and just let this information come in, and then you sort of decipher through it and figure out what you like, what you don't. Everything's shiny object syndrome, right? And it's like everything's cool, and then you're like, I don't know, I can do this, I can do this, now I can do this, and then you sort of piece it down to what are you really interested in, what would drive you, what would fuel you. And so I'm leveraging I'm actually buying a small business. It's a very small business, but it's the supplies for my epoxy installation business.
Oh,
So like
interesting.
I'll be a distributor of the product, and I will also buy from myself for the installations.
I love a little vertical integration. I love that.
Yeah, so and plus it's coming with the guy that taught me how to do a lot of this. It's coming with his knowledge for multiple years. Like he just wants to stay involved. He's older, but he
Oh,
just wants to stay involved. So I have this
dude, that's
mentor
great.
coming with it that's going to pour this information into me, and any staff that I bring on board. So yeah, it has changed. Plus, I joined a coaching program, and I just went to the coaching retreat last weekend, which was life altering.
Dude, tell me about that.
So Aaron Velke, I don't know if you know that name, but so he
Ashton?
no Aaron Velke. He lives in Phoenix, but his coaching program is called Get Out of Your Own Way, and
Okay.
he facilitated the Chicago event that I went to in October for Emerge, and he made an offer to the group that he would take 8 individuals, and put us into a group coaching scenario for 6 months, and then it ended. It included in that was a retreat for 3 days in Scottsdale. Um, we had to pay our own way to get there, but everything else was taken care of when we were there. It was included in the cost, and it has been the best investment I've made in myself in my entire life.
Dude, good for
And
you. That's great.
I learned a pretty vital thing this past weekend. Last Friday, actually, I learned it, and I was there Saturday and part of the day Sunday also. That once he walked me through it, it's quite evident, what he walked me through and what he figured out about me, or what he
What
let
was
me
it?
realize about myself. I seek validation from others,
Uh-huh.
and seek value, trying to gain value from others, and not in a desperately unhealthy way, but definitely in a way that I didn't recognize.
Yeah, limiting
That
way.
Yeah, where I do something for somebody, and if they don't include me or don't feel don't and it doesn't have to be I get validation from them by words, but more of actions, like not invited to go somewhere, or you don't talk to somebody for a month at a time, and but yet you see Facebook and they're doing things like that, and you don't get invited to go do it, right? And it's this whole idea that um, it came from something that happened in my past when I was a kid. How he found it, I don't know. He just sort of walked right to it, and it was really vulnerable, really deep, really raw, and he's right. I mean, he's absolutely right when he figured that out about how I seek validation from others.
Dude,
So there's
I
the
gotta
whole
follow
idea
that. Good for
of
you.
yeah, it's a whole idea of now trying to learn how to value me, how I feel I have value, because then I don't have to seek that validation. And so it was sort of interesting that it happened on Friday, because we got there Thursday evening, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday was all day, long days, and then Sunday until noon. And so that happened on Friday, and so Saturday and Sunday I had a completely different mindset of now I'm paying attention to what's going on in the idea of trying to figure out how to feel my own value. So it sort of
Fascinating.
altered the rest of the weekend. It was when I say life altering, it really was, and I
Dude, good for you.
can't wait to see where it goes when I get to digest the rest of it, and sort of keep sinking into it, and relating to it and figuring it out.
Yeah, you create like a fork. It's not one day. It's like you create a new path. Yeah, I
Yep,
love that.
yep,
Dude, good for you. That's
yep.
great.
No, I
I've
appreciate
never
that.
done I've never done any coaching. Or not really. So yeah.
I had never. I'd never even, I mean, I never even thought of, I heard of it, and you'd be like, who hires a life coach? Well, apparently I do. So it was interesting to go do something like that, and be involved in that. And it's actually sparked an interest in doing coaching, in figuring out that I've probably done some of that my entire life with people, where I sort of take on what they're to listen to what they're talking about, just be blunt and honest with them, be caring about it, and sort of help walk them through whatever situation they're in. Um, and so I've done it a little bit with some people in the emerge community. Just somebody in our pod that I'm in, they'll reach out and be like, hey, I'm having trouble with this, walk me through this. And so it's more of just asking good questions and determining how to get them to see the path. You don't want to see the path for them, but you want to try to help them see the path of where they're trying to get to or what they're trying to clear.
Yeah. People don't. Yeah, you rarely solve people's problems. You can help them solve their own problems.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
Because there's a fine line between mentoring and coaching, and that's what I learned. I learned that there's a pretty fine line, because mentoring is sort of like, hey, do it this way, and coaching is like, how do you think you should do it, and then help walk them through that, and just asking the right questions to get them to sort of seek through it. And when that happens, it happens with me when my coach is doing it, where you can feel your face shift and you're like, oh, hold on. And you can feel like the idea sort of click. You may not like the answer, but you realize it's the answer, right? You don't have to necessarily like it, but you realize that it is the answer.
You ever go to therapy?
I have not gone to therapy.
Yeah. I always wonder. I just started therapy. I always wonder how similar they are.
I have family members that have, and I think they're probably very, very similar. But I think coaching, it feels as if it gives the almost the permission to be blunt, right? It's almost that, like to me, a therapist is like, hey, how you doing? Tell me what's going on. How you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. And like a coach is like, all right, so tell me what's going on. You're like, well, I'm having this trouble. I've got all these things on my shoulders. Like, well, explain what those are. And you start explaining, well, is that piece important? And it's sort of, it feels as if coaching gives that opportunity to where it's not so feeling based as much as, to me, therapy is, right? I think it's more, feelings are important, and you have to be considerate of them. But I think it feels, it's weird, but it feels as if it's like, it's not so much as, I'm not so much concerned about your feelings as in like, let's look at the reality of the situation and then let your feelings fall into place, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being crushed by your feelings and you can't see the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just guess on my part.
Yeah. My therapist and I don't talk about my feelings so much. But I also think, kind of like coaching, it's so much more about who than what.
Right. Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I do know that the first time I had a chance to talk to Aaron, we clicked. I not only hear what he's saying, but I feel what he does, right? What he's doing and try to facilitating and helping people. It lights a fire in me, and I resonate with that. So when he's doing it for me, or any of the people that I'm around, you really get that, and you can catch that intention is a true intention. Like, he cares about what he's doing, and so it does help when somebody does really truly invest into caring for it. So,
Yeah. Fascinating. Dude, good for you. That's amazing.
yeah,
Well, I try to ask this people a lot. Like, ask people this very often is like, I don't know, makes a person sign up for a call with a complete stranger in this case?
the aspect that you are a complete stranger. I love the idea. I love that concept. You're putting yourself out there, like conversation with strangers. I love the idea of that. That is because that to me means that you're curious about others, and it's not a like the conversation could go anywhere, right? It's like sort of meeting up with somebody at a coffee shop, just randomly. You walk to a coffee shop, you sit down, this person's at the other table, and you strike up this conversation. So this to me feels like that. It's like it's just a strike up a conversation, and the genuineness that you're presenting with the interest in the questions helps the conversation flow, right? It's not structured.
Well,
it's more curious.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious. I love meeting people, and they're all different. You guys, I say you guys, like I do this, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 times a week.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and I've been doing it for years now.
Wow, it's interesting.
I just started like ramping it up, I guess, but I did it for years not knowing what it was. But it's interesting because my perspective is different. You're like, oh, look at this thing this guy's doing. But for me, I'm like, again, I just meet so many people, and it's the stories are always different. People are different,
Sure.
and
Sure.
some people are fucking weirdos. I love that too. I'm like, look at this guy. He's on something. And yeah, I'm always just curious, right? I also think that it represents like a, I think it represents a significant loss in people's feeling of belongedness in the
Mm.
community.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
people
I
are like, I'll
can. I
talk to a
can.
stranger because I want to talk to someone. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, well, me too. So I'm here
Well,
with you.
it's like I said, it's the old style coffee shop diner thing, right? You would strike up a conversation, you go and sit and have a meal at a diner counter, and people sit next to you, and inevitably you're going to strike up a conversation with somebody sitting, in close proximity. I mean, at least that's me. I don't,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm nosy or pushy or anything, but I definitely will strike up a conversation with just a random person, in a situation.
Yeah. Now
Um,
everybody's doing this.
Yeah, 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 and they use it as a vice. That yeah, they use it as like leave me alone,
Yeah.
right? And you'll get the people that will they'll put earbuds on. There's nothing going on. They're not talking to anybody, but they'll have earbuds in and they'll like be like yeah okay, and they're not even on a call, but you don't know they're not on a call. So it's a way for them to hide in plain sight.
I will like to tell you that I do this all the time. I do this all the time, especially if you have the big ones.
Yeah.
It's basically just saying like, "Hey, go fuck yourself. I don't want to talk to you." Right? And then a
Yes.
little bit of body language goes a long way, right? You're like, somebody comes up to you, start talking to you like this.
Yeah.
What?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, okay.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but that being said, I think I don't know. Everybody has their way. I love this because I can do it. I can do this. I don't want to say on my terms. I can do this. Actually, doing it over video is interesting because you don't have to, like, for an introvert, say somebody who's introverted, they don't have to go to public, a coffee shop, and then try to get through the barrier of the headphones and the
Sure.
I'm busy and the minding my own business. They don't have to go to a bar. They don't have to go out. They can do it from their own home, and it's one on one, so they don't have to. There's no group, whatever. So it actually, it's that idea. It's just a little bit more. I don't know. It's just a modern way of doing that. I'm like, hey, I'm at the coffee shop. I'm open to chat.
Sure. Sure.
You know.
No, very,
And
very
because I'm in
cool.
this entrepreneurial world, it's and I've done, you know, not a lot, but some. I can generally be useful to people.
Right.
So if they have business questions, I'm like, okay, well, I know business somewhat. I can
Sure.
at least give you a sounding board. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, it's impressive. I like the concept. It's a neat concept.
yeah, and I don't yeah, I don't get anything out of it, or excuse me, like I don't have a goal. Just talk to as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah, your statement you don't get it. I would suspect your statement of you don't get anything out of it is probably so far from the truth. Like
No,
that you get out of these conversations. You can tell by your personality. You're you not getting anything out of it as like financial gain or moving forward. Like it's just something you like doing,
yeah, I
right?
get
It's
fulfillment out of it. I don't get
right.
I don't have anything to sell you.
Sure,
There's
correct.
no
Right,
product.
right,
Yeah, it's not a
right,
webinar. There's no funnel. You
right,
know, I collect your email address. You're gonna go on my newsletter, which
eh,
you can unsubscribe from. You know, or I
right.
mean, that's where like sometimes I'll send out deals. I'm like, you want to make money with me? You know,
Sure,
but for the most part, it's like I get your email address. That's a fair trade.
sure,
You know.
sure. No,
Other
I
than that,
agree.
yeah, it's interesting. It's very fulfilling for me. So I get to serve. That's what I get out of it.
Right, right. No, it's a great concept. Love it.
Well, let's see. Who else do I know in Ohio? Sometimes what I do with these things is I have a CRM here, and I try to. I'm getting better about the process, but the idea would be like when you sign up in the future, it would have like it'd make you put your state in where you live, and
Hmm.
then I can go to my CRM. I'm like, well, here's Dan Greggs. I don't know Dan, but I talked to him on here once. He lives in Cleveland. How far away are you from Cleveland?
Uh, 30 minutes, if that, depending on what
Yeah.
part of Cleveland.
He's a GoBundance guy. Do you know him?
No, is he?
Dan Greggs?
Dan Greggs? I did not know
See?
that.
I'm going to connect you guys. See? See that? Isn't that
Look
cool?
at that. That is cool.
I'm a, s- I'm a super connector by nature. So yeah, a lot of things what I'll do is I'll just like exactly this. I'm like, all right, well, who else is in GoBundance and in Ohio?
Right. Have you talked to Kyle Wakeman? He's in Ohio. He's about an hour north of me.
Oh no, I don't know. I don't. He's on my. I did talk to Kyle.
Did you talk to Kyle?
Yeah.
Kyle's a good dude.
Why is he not on my? Hang on a second. Boom. Okay, now I forget what we talked about. That's the only downside with doing these is like I meet so many people.
Dan Gregg looks
So,
familiar. I just found his Facebook page. Yeah, he looks. I don't know him, but he looks familiar.
oh yeah. Well, I did a little intro. Maybe it's useful. Maybe it's not.
Cool. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Kyle should be in here. I don't know why he's not. Oh, I think he ghosted me. That dude.
Oh, did he?
I think he ghosted me. Oh yeah. You got to chew him out. This is great. Oh, I love this now. Now I'm so excited. That dude ghosted me, and it happens sometimes. I give people grace. I'm like, whatever.
Sure.
It's just a chat with a stranger. You're not. There's no social loss. You're not gonna
Sure.
feel. But I want you to text him and be like, "Yo, Alex is talking mad shit about you, and you don't even know him,
I'm absolutely going to. I'm absolutely.
and
Gonna
you
text him right
deserve
now.
it." Yo, that's messed up.
I'm absolutely going to text him right now.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
bro, that's funny. That's funny. But yeah, dude, it's good to meet you.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed the conversation, man. This is a great concept, and I'm glad I saw Oliver's post and um, said, well, heck, why not? Let's jump in and schedule it.
Yeah.
Why
I
not?
haven't. I think I have a different link than the one you signed up with, but if you feel like sharing it, oh, I don't have any like. Oh
Yeah,
no,
please.
no, you used the right link. No, you didn't. Sure, you used the old link. Sorry, not the wrong link, but the old one.
If you throw it in the chat, I'll grab it.
Chat. But yeah, if you want to share it, I don't have any goal. Like I said, I don't have any agenda. So I'm just like, if anybody wants to talk to some like about whatever it is. Sometimes I swear it's like sometimes people have questions. They're like, hey Alex, I know you buy a lot of real estate, so I have a real estate question. I'm a super connector, so like, hey, I need to know some certain person, or like I have a certain person I'm looking to meet. Do you know anybody that does this?
Right.
Or I do a lot of content, so I'm a camera guy, and I produce a video podcast for Brandon Turner. So
Oh, do you?
I know that area really well. So
Okay.
people ask me for that stuff. But I swear this is like, despite all those things, probably 70% of the time, maybe 80% of the time, people are just like, I just want to meet somebody new. I want a friend to talk to for 30 minutes, or I need 30 minutes of public therapy. Some version of that. They don't have an agenda either. They're just like, yeah, I just like this idea.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
I
funny.
just liked your idea. I thought it was interesting. I saw it this morning. I was like, yeah, I did sign up for that. Cool. Yeah, I did. Alex talks to strangers. That's freaking terrific. It's a great idea. It's a great state. Is that your last name? Adri? Alex
Oh no, no,
A-N-D-R?
no, no, no. No, that's no.
No.
No. My last name is Felice.
How do you spell that?
Felice.
That shit about you.
That's so
On
funny.
how you stood him up. Mentioned your name. It went sideways. About how you about that shit about the type. How you stood him up. Was just on a call with him, and I mentioned your name, and it went sideways. Let's see what he comes back with.
That's so good.
Yeah, Kyle's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. He'd be like, "What are you
I'm
talking
sure.
about?"
I'm sure he probably, like I said, I used to get mad. Now it's fine. It is what it is.
Happens.
It actually it doesn't happen that much, and it doesn't
Right.
happen. And people, 100% of the time, they mean well.
Right.
So
Right.
it's fine.
Enjoyed
But
this, man. I really did. I enjoyed the conversation. I
do you
appreciate.
do you social? Do you social media?
I sure do. Yeah. Facebook. It's Chuck Robinson.
Is that what you go by, Chuck?
Yeah. Chuck Charles. I get one of those cool names that even the Mexican version, Carlos, which is one of my favorite versions of it. I think Carlos is such a cool name. Sounds very mysterious.
We have 9 mutual friends. Let's see. Oh, Chris Mers. I
Yep.
met Chris Mers doing this. Salvador, I met doing this. Eric Cabral. Eric Cabral's a good friend of mine.
Eric's. I love Eric. I love Eric. I think that dude's got something going on. He's got a program that I'm seriously thinking about getting into on the personal brand building side of it. He offered a quick starter to do it. So I'm seriously thinking about doing it.
Eric Cabral's profile picture. I'm a photographer and I have a goal. Everybody I know has to get a profile picture taken by me.
Okay.
And Eric's profile picture was taken by me.
Oh, was it? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like freaking 5 years ago now. Yeah. All right, dude. Dude, good to meet you.
Cool. Yeah, Alex, I appreciate the conversation, man. Keep it up.
Yeah,
There's a small service and light in the world you're providing. That's pretty awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm never gonna stop.
Yeah. Don't.
All right.
All
Here,
right.
hang tight. Don't leave.
Okay.